What is going on, guys? Winter Kills here, and welcome to a brand new video. Today I'm coming at you with a quick little analysis slash review of the new ban list. Obviously this released a couple days ago at the end of a YCS, which I think the way they're announcing these new ban lists at the end of YCSs is a pretty interesting concept. I think it also maybe puts a little bit more pressure on them to put out a good list, since they're live streamed and, you know, at these big events, where if they release a bad list, they might get a lot of, you know, immediate negative feedback. So maybe that'll push them to be a little bit better with ban lists. Let me know what you guys think about that. Do you want to see them keep releasing ban lists at the end of events? Is that something you want to see going forward, or do you like the more traditional route that we've been dealing with? Let me know down in the comments below. And really quickly, before we hop into sort of my take on this new ban list, I want to remind you guys to check out the ways you can support the channel down in the description. You can become a channel member. You can shop on TCG Player using my affiliate link, which is in the description. Or if you buy anything off of Imperium Duelist, feel free to use my discount code WinterKills10 off at checkout to save 10% off your entire order, and of course, support the channel. So with all that out of the way, let's hop into the new ban list, which was effective on April 7th, and take a look at the cards that are newly forbidden. Now, as we go through this ban list, I also have my predictions pulled up from my prediction video I released a few weeks back to see how right or how wrong I was, now that we have the actual list. So first and foremost, we are looking at Nightmare Griffin, which is a card that I had slated to be banned on this list, and I'm glad it was. The Nightmare Griffin lock was a really solid end board for the Malice deck, obviously ending on that About a Q with the Nightmare Griffin on top of all the other interruptions that deck is capable of putting forward. And it's always been a very toxic card in the Nightmare pool, in the extra deck. I think I talked about extra deck floodgates being very problematic, things like Appaloosa and how those have gotten banned in the past, and I wanted to see Nightmare Griffin sort of follow suit with that, so I'm glad to see that has come and gone. Moving on, we have Link Decoder, which is a card I did not have anywhere on my predictions, and I'm kind of surprised I forgot about this one, considering how in all my time playing against Malice since I've come back into Yu-Gi-Oh!, this card has come up a lot. I didn't really think it was really that broken to begin with, I guess, when I take into account all the other hits that I had on my prediction list. Maybe I didn't feel it was necessary, but this card is a crazy extender for them. It allows them to basically have a lot of like one card combos, if you will, and that other extension effect it has when it is used as link material for a Cybers with 2300 attack obviously can bring itself back. Very strong card, and I think helps to knock down the overall ceiling of Malice, which, as you could tell from this list, is something they really wanted to do, and I think they did a pretty good job of that. Next up, Abyss Dweller. I didn't have this card anywhere on my list. I didn't really think it was super problematic, but I mean, it is an extra deck floodgate monster like Appaloosa, like Nightmare Griffin, and maybe they're just moving more so in that direction. And as a Mermail player, I'm completely fine with that hit. As a Marincess player, I'm completely fine with that hit. Although I'm sure there'll come a day where I sorely miss not having this card in the extra deck. But of course, there are other ways to turn off the graveyard nowadays. I think there's a graveyard spell that has something to do with turning off graveyard effects. I'll throw it up on the screen here. The name escapes me right now. And the last card that they banned, which really affected me the most, is Bahamut Shark going to 0 from 3. And we have, us Mermail players, have Ryziel to blame for this because of the release of 7th Tachyon. Obviously, the Ryziel deck can now play Bahamut Shark and therefore have access to an Omni Negate on top of all of the other crazy things they have on their end board. Cross, Detonator, Eclipse Twins, you name it. That just adds an extra layer of, interruption to try to get through when going into the Malice board. So it's really unfortunate that Mermail had to suffer at the hands of Ryziel, and the release of 7th Tachyon, again, making that viable in the first place for the Ryziel deck. Although I think they might have played it way back when the deck first came out. I could be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, but it just sucks to see that go, because obviously that is a big hit to Mermail. Is Mermail still playable in my opinion? Yes, absolutely. I haven't really done a lot of building per se, but I think I have an idea of what I want the deck to do going forward, and I think the deck will still be pretty solid contender. Obviously not as good as it's been. Toad is a hell of a card, and it's going to suck to lose that, but I still have hope as a Mermail player. So those are all the banned cards: Nightmare Griffin, Link Decoder, Abyss Dweller, Bahamut Shark. I'm personally fine with all these. Obviously, I am biased towards the Bahamut Shark, though it is probably for the best in terms of just general health for the game. And again, before we move on to the limited section, I was only right on one card getting banned, and that was Nightmare Griffin. Now let's take a look at the limited section, where we have first and foremost Bystial Druis Worm, which is a card I did not have anywhere on my predictions. I thought Magnamut getting banned would be enough, but Druis Worm is like the second best Magnamut, the second best Bystial there is, and the Bystial engine is just insane, especially for the Malice deck, so that's obviously a hit against Malice. And I mean, just against the Bystial engine in of itself, that engine has been so prominent since it released, whether it be played in Dragon Link or Tier, or obviously in the Malice deck, right? I think it's time that this engine has been hit a lot, and we're finally seeing that. Dimension Shifter is a card that I wanted banned, and I really hate to see this card going to 1. While the mathematical odds of, getting hit with Dimension Shifter has drastically lowered, they are still not 0, and I feel like it's going to be that very annoying one-of sacky card that we are going to have to deal with, and you're just going to lose a game to it outright randomly once every now and then. It's kind of like when you have to deal with your opponent having that call by for that one hand trap you have. It's very annoying, obviously, and this is just another card that we're going to have to deal with until hopefully they just put it to 0. I really hate when they take really powerful sacky cards like that and they put them to 1. The same thing happened with Maxx C. It went to 2, then it went to 1, and then it went to 0, and it should have honestly just gone straight to 0. I just don't get this hit. I'll take it, of course, but I wish it would have just gone to 0. Masterpiece, the True Draco Slaying King. I think this is long overdue. True Draco players rejoice, even though I kind of despise you. But yeah, I don't think this is going to make too big of a difference. That deck has long since been out of its prime, so I think that's fine. Mathmech Circular coming back to 1. Honestly, I didn't realize this card was banned until I watched the live ban list release. I kind of forgot about it. I think it going to 1 is fine. I think we, again, long move past sort of that Mathmech dominance. Who knows what this will lead to? I know there was some talk of people playing it in Malice. I know I say some people, my one friend who plays Malice is looking into actually playing Circular and Sigma in a Malice build, but I don't know how fruitful that will actually end up being. Ryziel Detonator going down to 1, which, looking here, yeah, that's not a hit that I had. Obviously, I went after things like Eclipse Twins and Bonfire, but obviously they felt differently, went a different direction. I think Detonator going to 1 is fine, although, I mean, how often do they really go into 2 Detonator? In my experience, it's always like they make the 1 Detonator. If they make their full board, that's all they ever need is the 1 Detonator, especially with the Eclipse Twins. So that's a weird hit, but obviously some other more impactful hits will come later on, as you'll see. Bonfire going to 1, that is a card I did have going to 1, and I was right on that, so points for me, I guess. I think that makes sense. There's so much consistency with the Ryziel deck, it's not even funny how consistent that is, especially when you take into account like 7th Tachyon also kind of working as a Rhoda. That's kind of crazy. So Bonfire going down to 1 gives them now 4 Rhodas instead of 6. Brilliant Fusion is interesting. This was completely off my radar, and I think it was probably off a lot of people's radar. But Brilliant Fusion coming back, this opens up gates to like playing Gem Knight Seraphonite, I believe it is, which can give you an additional normal summon. Any deck can play it, but obviously it does require you to play like Gem Knight Garnet, the OG Garnet. If you ever heard that saying, like, oh, this deck has to play a Garnet, that stems back from playing Gem Knight Garnet in decks that would play Brilliant Fusion, and you would occasionally have to draw your Brick or your Gem Knight Garnet, as it was called. I remember playing this in Synchro Fusionist. Getting that extra normal summon was crazy, and that Foolish Burial, I think it's a light monster for Seraphonite. I think you need Gem Knight, Garnet, or any Gem Knight monster, and then a light monster to make it. I could be wrong, it's been so long since I've played it, but yeah, now decks can have access to a double normal summon, but obviously it does take up an extra deck slot. It does take up a main deck slot with having to play that Gem Knight monster and obviously the one of Brilliant Fusion. How impactful will that be? Again, it's hard to tell. I don't think it'll be very impactful at all. Now, these next two cards really threw me for a loop. Crossout Designator and Triple Tactics Talent. I was a little upset to see these go down to 1. I mean, Talents is an insane card. It's been an insane card ever since it dropped back in, what, 2019 or 2020? Maybe this is long overdue. This card has just been a menace to try to play around. I mean, think about how many times you are playing against somebody going second. You're very, very cautious of how you want to hand trap your opponent because of Triple Tactics Talent. And the fear just that card being in the meta can create, and how, you know, you can just get punished outright for interacting with your opponent at any given point. And yeah, that's something I've dealt with a lot lately, and just have outright lost for no reason because I'm interacting with my opponent and then I just get sacked by Triple T. So now we have Single Tactics Talent, and I think that's honestly okay. I think I can live with that. Crossout Designator getting the same treatment as Called By, so that's fine, I guess. I think, honestly, I mean, coming from a rogue player myself, I could see myself just maining the one Crossout, maining the one Called By in certain decks just to have that extra bit of hand trap protection. But those are the limited cards there. The only one I ended up getting correctly there was the Bonfire, so I missed big time there. Let's take a look at semi-limited now. And I will be the first to say I was way off when it comes to semi-limited. I only had one card slated to be semi-limited, that was Fualos. Yeah, there's like, what, over 10 cards here being semi-limited. You have Black Dragon Collapse Serpent, which is a really good extender for Dragon decks or any sort of like Chaos type decks. And they also semi-limited the White Dragon Wyvern Burster. This is like kind of help for Malice because it gives them more ways to play, more ways to banish their Malice monsters. This also just helps out Dragon decks in general, which, you know, honestly don't really need support. Dragons just always seem to be good. It kind of comes and goes, but yeah, it's cool to see these cards come back. I don't really have a big problem with that. It's nice just to see those cards finally coming back from 1. And then we have a whole slew of Ryziel cards. We have X Ryziel, we have Ice Ryziel, and we have Sword Ryziel, all going down to 2. And I think this is just blanket hits to consistency, which is fine by me. Then you have Malice P. Dormouse and Malice P. White Rabbit, also just hits to consistency because obviously that deck has, you know, it has the Gold Sarcophagus, it has the Field Spell as well, which obviously they did hit, Terraforming, and all the new support cards that are going to be coming out. So I think this is just needed to not make Malice the overall best deck of the format, kind of just dumbing it down a little bit. Same thing they're doing with the Ryziel deck. And then Morphing Jar, Unchained Soul of Sharvara, and obviously Malice and Underground. Again, another hit to Malice there. I had that card hopefully going to 1, but they did semi-limit it. So I was close on that one. Morphing Jar, again, I don't think makes a big difference. Unchained Soul of Sharvara, that's fine as well. And then we have Snake Eye Ash and Snake Eyes Poplar. I think those coming back to 2 is also fine, especially with that hit they gave to Bonfire in the limited section. So I think they can give that engine a little bit more cards back, especially since they took away one of their best sort of like consistency cards in a Bonfire. So that is it for semi-limited. A whole bunch of cards semi-limited. I mean, this is a pretty big list, especially at least as far as I can remember. This is one of the biggest lists I've seen in a long time, and we're still not even done yet because we still have to go take a look at the unlimited section, which we have Cyberjar, which I got right. Surprise, surprise. Danger Jackalope and Tsuchinoko, I got those right. And Eva, I got that right. I was just really crushing it here. Performer Pale Monkey Board, wasn't expecting that. I didn't have that one on here, although probably shouldn't have been a surprise. That Performer Pale engine has been long dead. And Monkey Board, as good as it is, I don't think it's any sort of game changer. Huge ban list, huge ban list. I got a couple cards right. I was in the, like, I had the right idea. Hits to Malice, hits to Ryziel. I guess an unexpected, unintentional, undirect hit to Mermail with that Bahamut chart going, which really sucked. Outside of that, I didn't really have much stake in this ban list, especially with the decks that were hit, and they got hit pretty hard. But obviously both Ryziel and the Malice decks are getting more support. You have the Star Ryziel and all the support coming out for the Malice deck, so I think these hits were definitely warranted. I mean, we've seen just how much these decks have made up top cuts in recent events. and I'm very, very excited with this ban list. I like it. It's a lot of much needed change. The only gripe that I have is no hits to the Fiendsmith engine whatsoever. I did have a hit to Tract, which honestly should have just been Engraver, the more I look at it. And yeah, nothing else really. I think that's about it. I would just like to see, like I said, a hit to the Fiendsmith engine. And yeah, that's going to do it. I want to make this video as quick as I possibly could, just going over, giving my thoughts on the ban list. Because I realized I didn't make a live reaction video because I just didn't have time to. Busy with other things, so I figured I'd make this little follow-up video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and as always, Winter Kill signing out. We'll see you in the next one. And as always, I want to give a big thank you to our channel members, especially our Divine level channel members who are Tweeter0226, Professor OO, Cadillacs, Pony Stark, Jose Sepulveda, Misfid, H8 Cyber, and Donald Camille. Thank you guys so much for your extremely kind and very, very generous support of the channel.